Good afternoon. We are back on our Cat's Hill garage and kitchen conversion, and we are finally getting ready to put the roof on. However, it is raining. Luckily, we don't need to do any bricklaying today. We can finish the bricklaying on the back wall over there tomorrow morning when it's fine. So we are getting ready to get the joists in. We're going to be putting our wall plate on. We're going to be getting our joist cut ready to go in, and we're going to be doing things a little bit differently for this job. So what we don't want to do is we don't want to put our wall plate onto our single skin garage wall, because you've got 75mm wall plate, you've then got 150mm of joist, 120mm of insulation. You've got 2 layers of decking at 80mm each, so that's 36mm. That's a massive fascia to cover all of that up. So what we want to do is we want to try and sit our wall plate on our internal wall. However, because that's going to be a stud wall, we've got to do things a bit differently. So when the building inspector came in, we had a chat with him, and he has given us some advice as to how to go about this. You done screwing? In the middle of a video here, mate.
Excuse me, some of us are trying to get some work done.
Anyway, so I'm going to flip you around and I'll show you exactly how we're going to do this. Okay, so this is our external garage wall, and we want to come from our steel here across to sit on a wall plate. So like I say, we don't want a massive fascia sitting on top of this here, because it'll look a little bit out of place. So we want to be able to build a couple of courses up on the external face of the garage, and then have our wall plate sat on a internal structure. So what we're going to do is we are going to run our wall plate across our pillars, and then support it with a piece of timber at the end with structural supports in the middle. And then we are going to put once we've got the roof on, we're then going to reinforce the support by putting our stud wall up against, and we're going to put some plyboard on before we put the plasterboard on. So the plyboard 10mm will give that structural stability for the wall plate to sit on the pillars and then be supported underneath by the stud wall. And that will get us through building regs. So we are going to do that. We will set up a time lapse and you can watch us do it. So Isaac's just getting the double trimmers in for our skylight. Our skylight is going to be 1650mm by 1400mm, so we're going 1650 that way and 1400 that way. And we've worked it out so the middle of the skylight is smack bang in the middle of where the kitchen is going to be. Good morning. It's still raining. We had a massive downpour and thunderstorm last night, so our garage was absolutely drenched. However, it's on spitting at the moment, so we're going to get on with some bricklaying, see how much we can do before the heavy rain hits, which is forecast to do. We've got Isaac that's going to finish off putting the joists on the roof, and we might even get some decking done today. It all depends on the weather. So I'll flip you around and you can have a look at what we're going to be getting on with today. So yesterday afternoon we managed to get some of our flat roofing structure done. We've just got the rest over here to do. Isaac's just sorting out the wall plate. He's making a lap joint and then what we're going to do is we're going to run the wall plate over. We're going to cut into the brick, we're going to wrap our joist in damp, and we're going to bed it into the wall. We are then going to build a frame for above this garage door here, and I take you through. I am going to be finishing off this brickwork here. Now unfortunately we have run out of these bricks, which came out of a demolition. So it came out of the wall down there and also out of our sections down here as well. We've run out of those, and these bricks are not made anymore, they're old bricks. So we have managed to get these. They are a little bit yellower in colour, but they are the same texture, and the customer is happy with that. We could have had some of these made, but because of a very specific brick that aren't made anymore, having bespokely made bricks is very expensive. Therefore we have decided that best course of action is to get a similar imperial sized brick with a similar texture, and the colour will weather down eventually. But as you can see, there are still yellow bricks in there. So what we're going to do is, we've got a couple of these left over. We will just chuck a few in just to kind of break up the change in colour. So what we'll do is we will set up a time lapse, and you can watch us do some bricklaying and some roof work. We're going to be cutting out these wedges, and then what we want is we want the ceiling to flow through all the same level. So we are going to be putting some of those battens up here once we've cut these wedges out, and that way it will bring them down to the level of a steel. And then the steel needs to be fireboarded. So what we're going to do is we're just going to buy fireboard and do the entire ceiling in there, and then do this in here with fireboard as well. It doesn't need to be done, but I think it's good practice because we've got an upstairs compartment, obviously bedrooms, toilet and whatnot, and if ever there's a fire downstairs in the building, you want some kind of protection, or you want enough time to be able to get out, and fireboard provides 1 hour as opposed to half an hour that standard board does. Another option that we could do to avoid putting fireboard on would be to double up on plasterboard, because that's 30-minute fire protection. We could put double plasterboard on there, but that would be a bit of a waste of money because 2 boards cost more than 1 fireboard and would take longer to put up as well. So we're just going to stick with fireboard. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut these wedges out. We're going to batten across here to bring everything to the same level so it all flows through. Just getting some bits for the roof cut. We have now got all of our joist holes. So when we put a joist in, we will wrap the ends of them in damp just to protect them, and then we will get them in, and then we're going to be making a frame out of 4x2 to go above here, and then we're going to have some white PVC cladding, as the house is white PVC. and then that will finish off the front as the garage doors are being kept, and there's going to be a small space for storage for bins and lawnmower and stuff like that. Matt's just putting the missing bricks in. So these holes were where the strong boys and the acros were to hold up the structure as we did these openings, and then we've got one there, and then we've managed to get this section done, and it doesn't look quite as out of place as I thought it might have done, because obviously there is a bit of a colour difference in the bricks between the new ones and the old ones. But like I said before, the new ones, this was the closest match we could actually get to these, with them being imperial. If they were metric, it'd have been a different story. We'd have got a pretty much perfect colour and texture match, but because we're imperial, we've not been able to do that. So we've managed to break up some of the yellow by putting some of the older bricks in, and that's broken it up nicely. We are almost finished with our structure. We've just got this last joist to go up here on the end, which will join to our frame, which is going above the garage door, but it's a thing of beauty. We've got some noggins to go down the middle as well, and then we've got a skylight in, and then Matt has been cutting bricks. Bless him, he has had to cut about 5 mil off the end of every brick so we can get a course on here, because obviously the wall plate, which is sat on the pillars, that pillar there and obviously that pillar of there as well, prevents a full brick from sitting on here, otherwise it will sit flush, and we need to come up at least 2 courses on this side elevation. So Matt has been cutting probably about 40 bricks, or I should say 5 mil for length for 40 bricks, so that's been a monumentous task for him. So I just want to say well done, Matt. There's a little workstation there. And that is looking okay now. We've got our cavity closers in now, so we are ready for windows going in. I mean, we do need to take this section out and extend these, but I want to put these in just to kind of protect the inside of a cavity for the time being, because it has been raining quite a lot over the last week and it's set to rain even more. So until we cut that section out, which I don't want to do until the actual floor to ceiling window comes, then we've just put these cavity closers in just to protect the inside of the cavity. Boom, our roofing structure is complete. We're really happy about that. It's done a grand job. Managed to get this done in a little over a day. We've got our little frame in there that we're going to put some white PVC cladding on. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put the furring strips on, which are pieces of timber which taper from in our case 50 mil down to nothing, and that way we can get the fall running down our roof for rainwater. Rainwater will then come to the edge here where our gutter trim is going to be, and then it will just drip into the gutter and go down into the downspout. So we'll put the fern strips on, and then if we've got a bit of time left over, we can do some decking. Boom, we have got the roofing structure complete. So we are now ready for some decking. We've got our joists on, we've got our furring strips running down, so that will allow us to have a fall. So all we need to do now is put on some decking and we are done and dusted. Our skylight frame is now done, so the sill will sit onto here and then the skylight will sit onto the sill, and everything is mechanically fixed down to the other. So when it comes to doing insulation internally, we'll put some insulation in between these mini studs here. That way we'll keep our U value throughout the entire roof. So next job is to prime this floor with a horrible black primer. It takes ages because it's really sticky. It's a bit like blackjack or DPM, but it needs to be done so that the Alatrix 600 has a key and it actually chemically bonds to this OSB here. So we'll get that done next. Matt is just priming this roof for us prior to getting the Alatrix 600 on. So as soon as that's done, we will leave it to dry for a little bit, and then we've got our walls already cut out down there to the length that we need, and we will crack on and get it put on. So our vapor barrier is now down. This is our Alatrix 600. It is a foil backed adhesive, and we have 100mm lap joints, and we've done our upstands as well. Now then, on one of my previous videos when we did a rubber roof, one of the comments asked why did we not lap the Alatrix up the wall. Now, the reason we've not done this is because we use Alatrix and Resitrix. They are both from the same company, and they're designed to be used in conjunction with each other. So when you read the instructions, if you're using Resitrix needs to be the membrane that's lapped up the wall. Alatrix does not need to be. The Alatrix just needs to be up to the wall. The reason for that is Alatrix 600 is a vapor barrier. It's not a waterproof membrane for the covering of the roof. So that is why I have not lapped my Alatrix up the wall. It will be the Resitrix which is lapped up the wall. We're going to do the installation now, so we'll set up a time lapse and you can watch this put 120 minutes. So rain's started to come down pretty heavy now. We can't continue with this because with a fine mist it's not too bad. Very light rain is not too bad, but when it starts to get heavy, then the only real 100% waterproof coating you've got is your Resitrix, which goes on top of everything. So unless you get up to that layer and you get the Resitrix down, you'll always get water which will find its way into cracks, joints. I mean, we've not taped the insulation joints yet because we haven't finished the insulation. So it took me about half hour to tape all the joints up, and even then the joints that I don't tape will get water in them. So yeah, we're going to abandon the roof for the time being. If the weather picks up a little bit later on, which it's not forecast to, but if it does, then we'll get back up here. Otherwise it's absolutely fine, sun shining tomorrow and Friday. we can get the roof finished then. So for now, we're going to go inside and we're going to focus on the steel. That's it, installation's done, and not a moment too soon because it's starting to belt it down now. So we'll get all this covered up and then we'll move back inside, get a few of the little snaggy jobs done, have a good tidy up, and then tomorrow we can bash on with decking this roof. That'll take half a day and then we should be able to start rubbering. Good morning, rain has stopped, let's deck this roof. And now it's raining again. Good old English weather. And it's raining again. We've got our makeshift drain. So when water pours into this section here and collects, eventually it'll get so heavy it'll just drop through. So we've just made a little slit. We've got a bucket catching the water, and hopefully that will keep the damp-proof course on top of the roof as opposed to being pulled in by water. Boom, our deck is done. Put a few boards upside down initially, as you can see there and there, but it's fine, we've got them upturned and round, and when this dries tomorrow we'll just come and scrape this off, it's not a problem, and we'll still be left with a nice smooth surface that we've got. So what we're going to do now is we're going to cut this ply up and we're going to make some fascia boards to go around the edges of our roof. Good morning, we are back in Cat's Hill. After all that rain we finally have a sunny day, so we're going to crack on with the roof and with the internal floor as well. I will spin you around and I'll show you what we're going to be getting on with. So Matt's currently damp proofing the floor with this liquid damp proof membrane fresh from Wicks. So what we do is we damp proof the floor and we lap up the walls by about 300 ml. So Matt is doing that, he'll finish his whole floor and then that should be dry enough to walk on after a couple of hours. Then when we get the materials delivery, we're going to be starting to put the insulation, 100mm insulation down in here, and that'll form kind of the basis that our floor will start on. And then if I run you up the ladder, we've got the rest of the wooden fascia to put on around that corner. We've already done that bit and we've already gone around that corner as well. Once that's on, we'll put the plastic fascia on, which shouldn't take too long, and then we can start thinking about priming this deck and getting some rubber down on it as well. So we'll set up a time lapse and you can watch it work. We've got all the fascia done now, so we are going to be putting all the plastic fascia on and trims, and we've got Neil back from Badger Doors and Windows. We've got that window in and we've got our floor to ceiling window as well. It's looking really, really good. We'll go inside and have a peek. Look at that, beautiful, lovely job. However, we are going to have to put a red cross on there because we will, without a doubt, walk into that window. Because we've been walking in and out of that space for the last 3 weeks now, so So yeah, we need to mark that window. So we will get the camera set up for watching the plastic fascia being prepared. All the fascia is now done on here. Next job, we need to prime the roof ready for the rubber. We're going to use the FG35 primer, which is the preferred primer for Resitrix, and we'll cover the entire roof using a paint padded roller, and then we will look at getting some strips of rubber on. So that is everything primed now. Absolutely horrible stuff to work with, this FG35. Anyone who uses it will feel my pain. Now I don't know if you remember, but the last video where we did a flat roof was the long ridge extension, which is currently on YouTube, and I gave some advice. It was a bit of a tip, and that advice was, whatever happens, do not get FG35 primer into your leg hairs. So what have I gone and done? Again, I've got it in both leg hairs, both knee hairs. So I'm going to either have to pull those hairs out, or I'm going to have to try and scrub them out, or just leave them. Anyway, we are going to give that half hour to dry, and then we're going to start putting some rubber on. So that took an ice age to get down. Now the reason that was, it's one of the common problems you get with the sticky backed rubber like Resitrix is if you don't pull your plastic out absolutely perfectly, then it can turn inside and it can stick to the bitumen underneath. And when you've then got your bitumen that's stuck to the floor, that's stuck to the board of the roof, it's very, very difficult to get up. Now you can technically just roll it out, but if you've got a piece of plastic that's still under there, then you can get a bubble, an air pocket, where it doesn't stick, and you end up with bubbles and it doesn't look good. So that's why that took such a long time, because I pulled the plastic out like a mong, and I made life difficult for myself. So I'm going to have to be a little more careful when I put the next strip on. So we've managed to break the back of getting this rubber down. I'm quite happy at that. We've got 2 full sheets in, so we've just got 1 more sheet to go, and then we've got the detailing around this skylight. We've got the detailing around this T for the soil, and then we are going to have to lap it up the wall there. And then we have got some wall plate to put on. So basically it's a bit like lead flashing. So it's metal and it's L-shaped, and what you do is you chase a line into the wall, you put it in, and as long as it touches the bottom of the rubber, you push it in, and then you mastic it in almost like you would lead flashing, pretty much exactly the same. And then we have got some beautiful bleed out there. Love a good bleed out, I do on a rubber roof. And then some just there. So it's Friday. on camera yesterday I said it's Friday, it's weekend, I'll see you on Monday. I was wrong, it was Thursday. We've been working hard this week, so we've lost track of the days. Today is definitely Friday. I know that because I'm getting my hair cut tomorrow and it's Saturday. So I will see you on Sunday because I'm coming to work on Sunday. We'll get some more filming and hopefully we can pretty much get this roof almost finished. Enjoy the weekend, chaps. Bye bye.
Alright, good morning everybody and welcome back to our Cat's Hill garage conversion and kitchen renovation. So the lads have been working really hard all week. Unfortunately I've been off due to an injury, but I'm all back now. The lads have been really busy. They've got loads of block walls up, they've finished off the roof for the most part. So what I need to do this morning is there's a few detail bits around the outside of the skylight that need doing, and then I've got to try and sort this where the landing used to be. The landing had to come out so we could get our steel in, but I need to sort that because there's a gaping hole in the staircase. But aside from that, my morning is going to be spent up on the roof sorting out the last little bits and pieces. So as you can see here, if I spin the camera over, yeah, there we go. You see here, I've still got to finish around this upstand, but hopefully that won't take too long. I've got my rubber, got my heat gun, got all the tools that I need in my new pouch, all good to go. So I'll try and set up a time lapse and you can hopefully watch me work. It might be a bit awkward because I'm quite close to the edge on this roof, but we'll see what we can get done. Cheers. Right, so I've got my upstands covered. Now the only thing left to do is cut my 4 kidney patches and they'll go in the corners. So you can see it's a little hard to tell because it's black on black, but we've got these, this side and this side all done, and then I just need a kidney patch, which is a sort of a round piece with a bit taken out of it to go into here, and that will cover all that up. Keep the corners, which are the weak spots, keep them nice and watertight, and also just finish it off and it just looks a little bit neater. So I'll set a time lapse up and you can watch me do that.